welcome to my podcast. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. I wanted to create a podcast to remind you that skating is for everyone. On today's podcast, we're talking to MacKenzie Swank, the founder of The Gray Skater. You can find her on Etsy and learn more about her journey on the ice. So sit back, grab a mug of your favorite beverage, and listen to this week's episode of On the Ice with Bernice. And remember, everyone is welcome on the ice. Well, I'm just so excited because today we have with us MacKenzie Swank, and I'm just so excited for you guys to hear her story and just learn a little bit about more her and the Gray Skater. So MacKenzie, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, let's just start off at the beginning. So who are you and where have you made a place for yourself in the world of skating?
Well, as Bernie said, I am MacKenzie Swank, and I started skating as a kid. I skated for a few years, but didn't really, make it very far. I passed up through preliminary. I skated a few years in college. I did synchro for a few years with the UW, University of Wisconsin. And then finally, I came back in 2017 as an adult skater, and I haven't looked back since. So, it's been a really cool journey. I've accomplished far more as an adult skater than I ever dreamt I could have done as a kid skater. So it's been a really important part of my life.
Oh, wow. Well, it sounds like you've almost done a little bit of everything.
Yes, I've dabbled in pretty much everything. I recently even took up ice dance and ballet to help improve my skating. So it's a constant journey for me. I'm always looking to improve. I landed my first axle a couple years ago at age 36.
Well,
So
congratulations.
thank
That's
you.
just awesome.
Yeah, it was something, I learned as a kid, but never ever landed it. So all you other adults out there, you're thinking you're too old for this. You are not. You can still do it.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
it's mentally taxing, but it's in there and you can do it. So,
Well, I'm very glad to know that because now when I have conversations with other people, and they're struggling with their axle and think it's hopeless, I'll go, wait, wait, wait. You need to listen to my episode with MacKenzie Swank because she landed it at
that's
36.
right.
That's just wonderful.
That's right.
So I don't like asking people, what's your favorite, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. So, of all the things you're doing now on the ice as an adult, what is your favorite thing you like doing?
Oh, spins. 100% spins. If anyone follows my Instagram account, which sorry, I don't really post that much. I used to have a hashtag Camel channel because I post a lot of camel spins, and camel spins are my jam. That's my favorite spin.
Oh, well, I've always struggled with my camel spin, so do you have any tips for me?
Ride that edge, get low, and just when you hit the position, stay there. Don't move. My favorite motto in skating, and this applies to more than just spins, is do less.
Mm,
So,
that's interesting. I think I was reading something, and you might have posted, I don't know, on the Adult Skate 2 channel on Facebook about a person talking about their coach just saying, do less, do less. You're thinking too much. Stop thinking.
yes, that is key. The one thing I've really noticed is different in being an adult skater versus as a kid skater. As a kid, you just kind of do stuff. You don't really know what you're doing. You just do it. As an adult, I'm like, did I push on the right toe? Is that arm in the right place? Am I bending enough? And the answer to that is usually no. But there's so much more to think about. So as an adult, I think it's really important to kind of uh, squash some of those thoughts that you have in your mind and just do less. Let your body do it. Stop thinking and do less.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to remember that next time I'm out on the ice. Maybe that will help. Um,
Maybe.
I'll let you know. So, what's next for you in the world of skating? And in terms of your skating itself, we're gonna move into the gray skater next. But what's next?
So currently I am an adult silver skater and I'm heading off to nationals next week. And this will actually be my final skate as a silver skater. So I've decided to move up to gold. I started as a bronze back in 2018 and had a really successful nationals that year, and then moved up to silver. And now I think I'm ready to move on. So after nationals, I'll be working on testing my gold free skate and hopefully also testing novice moves this year as well. So that's what the plan is for the rest of the year.
Well, congratulations and good luck at nationals. That just sounds like a blast.
Thank you.
All right. So, what is the gray skater?
Well, the Gray Skater started in 2019. I came up with the name. It was kind of an homage to my hair that is rapidly turning a beautiful silver color, much like yours. It's
Yes,
beautiful.
it is a beautiful color.
So, and then with the pandemic, you get the pandemic highlights
Mm.
of more gray. So it just worked. But basically, it started out, a friend of mine and I were reminiscing about the 90s and the good old days, back when we wore neon colored skating dresses for practice, and everyone just looked different on the ice. I know these days it's so common to see black warm up jackets and
Mm.
black leggings, and there's not a lot of individuality. And if, like, when I'm coaching and I have a student and I'm trying to find them on a busy freestyle, it's kind of hard when everyone's wearing black
Mm.
on black on black. So I had started just making some practice dresses for fun, and I happened to be in a really, really cold ice rink. Um, and so I thought to myself, I'm going to need some leg warmers to go with this. And I posted a photo of my crazy dress and matching leg warmers on Instagram, and I had a lot of people interested. And so I ended up opening up my Etsy shop at that time. And I just kind of grew from there. It started out just an Instagram thing. And then there was a little blurb about it in Skating Magazine later that year. Um, and it grew from there. So it's been a fun journey.
And am I right that you because I haven't gotten my pair yet. But do you have the whole zip off thing? That's kind of not other leg. There are not many other leg warmers that have that, are there?
No, and I started that in 2020. I had many requests from various different people. So I came up with a design that worked with my existing design that I had used. Um, and that's when my business really, really took off.
Mm.
And that's when I really started to make a name for myself. Sales went through the roof. And now I've got some knockoff competitors too. So I think that's when you know you've made it, is when you get the knockoffs going. So but yeah, it's still going strong, and it's so lovely to meet my customers when I'm at nationals or I'm at sectionals, or I'll have customers just shoot me a message on Etsy and say, hey, this is my second pair, this is my fifth pair, my 10th pair, and I just love them. And that's just really cool to know that you've made something and created something that other people love just as much as you do. And that's been just really, really rewarding for me.
Oh, absolutely. I bet that's a great feeling. Well, and so where can people go to get their gray skater leg warmers?
So right now I am on Etsy. You can search for the Gray Skater. Um, and hopefully later this year, I'm going to have my standalone site, which is thegrayskater.com. But I just haven't had time to fully get that up and running yet. But yeah, you can find me on Etsy. I've currently sold almost 2,300 pairs so
Oh,
far in the last
wow.
few years. So I've been busy. Um, but yeah, it's just been an awesome dream come true to have my own business and have people actually like what I'm making.
Oh, absolutely. Now, have you always known how to sew? Do you make these yourself?
Yep, I do everything from designing to sewing to
Wow.
marketing to marketing, everything myself. I've always been crafty. I always did a lot of crafts as a kid. In college, I went through so many different majors, and then I finally landed on textile and apparel design, and that's when I knew that that was what I really wanted to do. And so it's like I worked in the industry a little bit, um, but I really didn't enjoy it until I worked for myself.
Mm.
Um, and so it was nice. And ironically, I didn't actually like sewing in college. It wasn't my favorite thing to do. There was too much prep work. It took too long. But it was more after I started skating and I started getting into sewing. I started sewing skating dresses because I have an extra long torso and nobody made dresses that didn't
Mm.
go straight up my butt. So um,
I
that
understand that problem.
yes. So I started making dresses for myself, and I also do that for other people, and that's kind of what I do in the off season of leg warmers. Um, and yeah, now I'm sewing every day. I have like 6 different sewing machines.
Oh, wow.
Uh, it's pretty much my life, and I make regular clothes too. It's skating and sewing. That's pretty much what I do.
And you also have 2 kids, right? How do you balance
I
all
do.
of that?
Um, it's interesting. I'm usually my sewing room studio is down in our basement, and they're usually upstairs yelling for snacks. So it's a lot of running up and down the stairs to appease the children, and you know, they like the sewing too, though, which is pretty cool. So they know that I'll take my scraps and I'll make them shirts or pants or pajamas and things like that. So they get a custom wardrobe.
Oh,
uh,
how nice.
yeah, it's pretty fun, and I can make matching things for them or matching things for dad and them. So um that's been pretty fun. But yeah, it's a lot of running up and down the stairs.
Well, I guess you're getting your off ice in,
I am, yes, definitely.
which is very important.
Yes.
Well, that leads me to my next question. When did you get to a place where you felt welcome on the ice?
Having skated at so many different stages of my life, as a kid skater, it's a lot more competitive, and you I just remember skating, there were a lot more cliques
Mm.
and groups of girls who maybe you wanted to be friends with, but they didn't necessarily want to be friends with you. um and in college, I pretty much started to feel more welcome on the ice. Obviously, as part of a synchro team, you're with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't until I started skating as an adult that I really felt like I was home.
Mm.
And it was even like the second day I had come back on ice. I came back, I had to get new skates because my feet grew after having children. And that was terrifying. Um, but the very first day I met a couple other adult skaters, I started watching. Back in that time, there was Ice Network before the days of Peacock and US Figure Skating Fan Zone. And I just watched every video I could possibly find. Um, and so I got to know some of the names of the people who were a big part of adult skating. And so at my first sectionals, my first nationals, I was kind of freaking people out in the locker room because I'm like, oh my God, you're so and so. My God, your spin last year was amazing. And it was really cool. And it was a great way to start meeting people and to be just welcomed into this amazing community. And everyone's just been so wonderful.
Wow. Well, I like watching those things as well, but I can't for the life of me keep all the spins everybody did in their heads. In my head, not their heads. My goodness. So I might have to, message you or something to help me with that cuz that's wow, that's impressive.
I can definitely help with that.
But that's very lovely, and I'm very glad that you have found, have gotten to a place where it feels like home, and because I'm certainly there with the world of skating, and I just want to invite everyone on the ice with me. So I'm very glad that you are there.
Well, thank you.
So my other question I have for you: are you comfortable talking about your chronic illness and how that plays a role in your skating?
Yes. So back in 2020, in the thick of the pandemic, I had just landed my first axle and it was kind of on the skating high. And all of a sudden, I started to develop uh, quite a bit of joint pain. And I didn't know at the time. I thought it was I was sewing a lot because I had just released the zip off leg warmers, and I was sewing nonstop. I was training a lot, and with the new jumping a lot. It's a lot of strain on your body. Um, and it just progressively got worse. I was barely able to tie my own skates, and I thankfully had some teenage friends that I skated with who like so lovingly offered to tie my skates for me.
Oh wow.
Um, and my feet were really inflamed, and I was just like stuffing sausages in my skates. It was pretty uncomfortable. And eventually it got so bad that I had to go to the doctor. And that's when I was diagnosed with lupus. And lupus is kind of a range of different things. It means different things for different people. For me, it caused the joint pain, it caused inflammation, it causes fatigue. And these things can be exacerbated by stress.
Mm,
So competitions are fun times. They're definitely more difficult to manage for me now. Um, Lupus also means for me that I have a harder time regulating my body temperature, which being in an ice rink is difficult. Um, so I had to skate first out of 20 skaters at nationals last year. And you know what? I didn't mind it because I got to stay warm. So that was totally fine for me. But competing now, it's about making sure I'm eating the right foods. If I eat the wrong foods, it can cause me to flare and get that joint pain back or more fatigue. um and also I just have to get a lot of rest. So
mm,
I love spending my time in the stands in the very cold ice rink with all my friends, but you know there's times I just have to go and I have to rest. And I've actually found out through sharing my story, many of my other friends also suffer from chronic illness of varying degrees. And so it's interesting, everyone's got their own story and their own battles they have to deal with on top of going out there and doing these crazy tricks on the ice. You just never know what someone's going through
mm.
inside as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. And what tips would you have for, people out there who aren't suffering with chronic illnesses of, coming alongside people in the sport who do, and I guess just helping them, and like, is there something that those people can do?
um I think just being understanding. Um it's it's a hidden illness, as they say, and so I'm not one of those types of people who typically complains a lot about it. There's not much I can do about it. I can only do the best I can do. I could say, oh, I fell on a jump and it's because of my illness, but um you know that's just to me. I think just being understanding, like the friends that I've stayed with and um, skated with over the past few years. they've been so wonderful, oh, here's some extra warm things for you to wear while we're waiting, or, do you need extra eyes on your warm up? Because another big thing that happens with my lupus is brain fog. So
Mm,
I've noticed that when I compete, I kind of just go in this zone where I'm there, but I'm not there, and my brain is just completely blank. And so that can be kind of difficult. Sometimes I need someone on the sidelines to say, hey, you're doing this, focus on this, or just bringing me back
mm,
to where I need to be. So I'm still kind of navigating that. It's especially tough in larger competitions like sectionals and nationals, to stay present. So I think just being understanding and helping keep me or anyone else suffering just in the present, in the moment, and being able to enjoy things as much as we can. But if we need a break, to help them do whatever they need to go take a break.
Well, that is good, and I'll have to keep that in mind because I mean, I before this, I didn't know too much about lupus, so I thank you for sharing that with me so that I can know what to do. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but well, Mackenzie, just thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. And I got one last question for you
Oh,
before I
sure.
let you go. Who do you know that I should interview next?
Hmm. Let's see. Um, I have a friend, Carrie Hale. She is an ice dancer, and she is a double hip replacement.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness.
yes, so she used to do freestyle. She was up through gold level, and she had both hips replaced in the past few years, and now she's focused on ice dance. And she's just been a huge inspiration for me and rock for me. She's one of those travel buddies. So I think she would be a great one to interview and share her story.
Well, I would love to learn about her story. Wow, that's an inspiration just hearing about it. Well, thanks again, Mackenzie. This has just been absolutely wonderful, and I hope to meet you in person real soon.
I hope so too. Thanks so much for having me, Bernice.
Of course. See ya. Thank you for listening to this episode of On the Ice with Bernice. On today's episode, we talked with MacKenzie Swank and learned the story behind her downright delightful leg warmers. By the way, the link to the gray skater is in the description below. You know you want to get you some of those. We also talked about her chronic illness and her journey on the ice. Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you like, subscribe, and share this episode of On the Ice with Bernice? This small action can really help young whippersnapper podcasts like me get going. This episode was researched and produced by Anna Blankenship and hosted by me, Bernice. Most importantly, remember, everyone is welcome on the ice.